right, hello wine drinking people. Today is Tuesday, the 16th of June, and this is only the second review I've gotten out from our trip to Burgundy and Champagne. You know, come right back to work and just hit the ground running, man. A lot of great tastings. I think we had 5 the first week I was back, but this is a producer that we know very well here. It was good to see Luc Bouchard in Beaune, and Bouchard Pere, one of the most important producers here, founded in 1731, and they now have the most famous collection of old wines in all of Burgundy, located in the heart of Burgundy in Beaune. They bought the property back in 1820, and this was built by the Dukes of Burgundy in the 14th and 15th century, and it's amazing. The walls in this was built as an armory, actually, so when you go down there, it doesn't look like the normal cellars in Burgundy. The walls are 5 to 7 meters thick. It's 10 meters underground, the perfect humidity and temperature for a cellar. And the wines here go all the way back to 1846. They have a Merceau Charmes, which Luc says still good. Unbelievable. The next time you come, Luc, we're expecting you to bring some of these old bottles with you. We're going to put on a very special tasting. And they've got 130 hectares in the Côte d'Or, making them the largest owner of Grand Cru and Premier Cru in Burgundy, 12 Grand Crus and 74 Premier Crus. Wow, after the French Revolution, all the property was confiscated and sold, so the Bouchards were lucky to buy up a lot of vineyards at that time. Today, I don't know if you could acquire this kind of vineyard land. Well, I shouldn't say that because Bouchard was purchased in 1995 by the Henriot family. Mr. Henriot just recently passed away here, but Luc Bouchard still at the helm here, and you know, his family, like I said, one of the most important in all of Burgundy, and the Henriots, I think, recognize that, and who better to run the family business than one of the Bouchards. And he guided us through this tasting of 2013s this afternoon. These guys also have a property, Villeparisis Fleury, which Beaujolais, one of the most underappreciated wines in all of Burgundy. They make 3 wines. The La Reserve is the one that comes here in 2013, a very charming vintage. This Fleury La Reserve, a blend of 200 different parcels, and they have 15 hectares of vines here, really small crop here, so you got nice intensity of fruit and lovely richness. The queen bee of Beaujolais, they call Fleury, very exotic, lovely floral notes, and you know, they don't have quite the structure of a lot of Burgundies, but even saying that, you can keep Beaujolais for 10 or 20 years easily in a great vintage. They use old Bouchard barrels here. This 2013, very charming, excellent example of Fleury. I'm not going to bother to go through the 2 that you can't get here, but they're on the review. And then off to the Sauvignon Le Bon. You always try the reds first in Burgundy. Well, not always, but a lot of people do. They got 40% estate fruit in this wine. Lovely incense, spice, dried flowers in here, red berry fruit, nice velvety wine on the texture. These 2013s have a lot of charm, very forward, a little bit more rich and fruity than 2012. 2012 seemed a little more structured here, and this wine, an excellent example of Sauvignon Le Bon, one of the greatest values in all of Burgundy. I have some 6970, it's my birth year, that's still drinking beautifully. A village wine, the last 45 years, unbelievable. The Monthly L'Estorès is one of my favorite wines in terms of values. Lovely, pretty flowers, red berry fruit, exotic spices, some nice tannins and structure here. Ripened around in 2013. A lovely, balanced finish, excellent juice. And I'm going to note the cases that we have next to everything here, because with Burgundy, it's like every other fine wine on earth, it's becoming harder and harder to get a large amount of these wines. If you want these 2013s, you want to order them now. They're to be arriving shortly. In addition to them, I've listed all the 12s that are still available, and everything else we have in the store, like this 2010 Baby Jesus, one of our favorite wines. And speaking of Baby Jesus, the 2013, another great wine, a stunning bouquet, some barnyard notes, some gravelly, minerally notes. They acquired this vineyard from the nuns, the Carmelac nuns, who acquired it from the Queen of France in 1791. It was a gift, and they have a little Baby Jesus statue right there. Anyways, the gravel is really deep here, so the roots go very deep. This wine's always a bit tightly wound when it is young, and this one has some gritty tannins here, but it has all the right pieces in proportion. Most excellent juice. The Pommard, which we had a Premier Cru Pommard here. This is also one of the biggest appellations for the reds. Black raspberry fruit. They had 50% the normal crop in 2013. They had a huge problem with hail the last 3 harvests there, but this one has some lovely rose petal floral notes, some chalky tannins at the end, a bit tart. but some nice spice and those floral notes coming through the finish, not over-extracted in 2013. All right, the Lake Courton Grand Cru here. This is a southeast exposure just above the hill, just below the trees, rather. A really nice concentration from this area because you get the wind coming through here, and you get perfect maturation from this part of the property. Notes of peppery spice here, red berry fruit, cranberries, raspberries, blueberries, nice and tightly wound. But this wine, again, very young, but has all the right stuff and in proportion. Most excellent juice. The Nuits Saint Georges Les Cailles. This is one of the premier crus in the Nuits Saint Georges. Good amount of small stones, so you get a nice balance and elegance to this wine. A bit of a smoky, toasty, oaky note. Very exotic cherry fruit. Some new oak here. You get like 10%, really lightening up on the new oak at a lot of these producers. So to really showcase the terroir more. Really sturdy wine, and this wine needs a little bit of time. The Nuits Saint Georges is always a little bit tough. The Von Romane Les Souchaux. This wine, really silky and velvety. One of the things we love about Von Romane is that lovely, elegant texture it has, but still very big fruit, cherry liqueur-like fruit, exotic spices, a lot of volume, a long layered finish. The Chambertin Clos de Bez. This is from the same parcel every year. They've got control of everything, even though they don't own it. This wine's got a lot of beautiful exotic spice, a potpourri of flowers, a good amount of rich red cherry liqueur-like fruit, really big and chewy, long layered finish, and you get some graphite minerality in there, really bright and zesty, long finish, most excellent juice. All right, the Chassagne Montrachet, the first of the whites, and Chassagne, to me, one of the greatest villages. It's a little more forward usually than Polini, not quite as big as Meursault. Very good fruit with this wine, really clean and fresh, some nice lemon, citrus, fruit, and pear. 10% new oak in the white, so you do get a little bit of spice, but again, not overdone. The Meursault Genevières, 2% new oak in this one. It's going to be 2, it must be 20. Sorry, 2%. That's a little bit too hard to figure out. Wonderful balance, though, and this wine's got a lovely core of juicy fruit, some gravelly, minerally notes, lemon and apple, citrus, and some nice hints of spice there, oak, cinnamon, and vanilla bean. Thick and viscous on the tongue, as Meursault always is. A most excellent juice, this Genevières. All right, the Meursault Le Clos, which is just a Lieu-dit, a named vineyard, and Bouchard owns about 1/5 of this cru, and some nice tree fruit here, apples, some lemon drop candy, white flowers, hints of butter toast, smooth and creamy on the tongue, a nice amount of bright acidity, fat and round. Nice balance in this wine, an excellent example of Meursault at 63.50. Then the Meursault Pere is one of the most famous of all the premier crus. 3 parcels go into this blend, and right next to Polini, Little Stones is what the name means, and lots of concentration and richness here. This wine's very well built, but needs a little bit of time to come around, even though these 2013s are charming. The top level wines, like the Perriers, are going to need a little time. Chevalier Montrachet, one of the greatest of all the whites, only 15% new oak. Wow, some people use 100% in their Grand Cru wines, and there's only 8 hectares in this whole Grand Cru. They own 1/3 of the appellation here. This wine has got incredible richness and complexity, a firm hand of acidity, a little bit tightly wound. I'd like to try this wine in 20 years. Killer juice, lots of minerality here. Courtauld Charlemagne, one of my favorite whites and one of the greatest values in the Grand Cru. This was located high up on the Courtauld Hill. They own 3.5 hectares of this great Grand Cru, really rich and fat, a little lemon drop candy, some buttery toast, really nice creaminess there as well. A little bit tightly wound as well, but this wine has got a long future and one of the more drinkable of all the Grand Crus, but still, it's Grand Cru. You need to keep it for a few years. And then the Polini Montrachet Village. This wine, I don't know how we finished up with this last. This is a combination of the stuff I tasted there and the stuff we had here in the store a few months earlier. Polini, to me, always has got a little more tension, needs a little more time. You really notice that limestone and clay soil, some nice pear and lemon citrus fruit, some flinty, minerally notes, and this wine has got nice balance and a long finish for village wine. A great example of Polini at $83.50. Wow. Whitebergs are getting expensive. So check it out. Everything we've got from Bouchard, Pere in the store from 2003 and all the other vintages. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.